what's my primary view going to be? Looking down on it this way, looking at it this way, at it this way, this side. Which direction is what? Or this way, which is a good primary view. Yeah, looking at the whole, right? There's a lot of detail in that shape. So that's where I'm going to start. And so we'll get to this later. Go back to regular grid. So I need to draw out as much of that shape as I can, right? So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go this way. So if I just start here, I can do that. But I don't want to get to the side because I've got angles there. So maybe I'll go here. I'll go 3.6, point up, go 0.7, come back in, 8, go back up, 0.4, go that way, 0.75. So I just drew this line, these two lines, that line, and that line, right? Does that make sense? Just point, tell how far to go, point, tell how far to go. And now from here, how do I get these two angles? Yeah, draw them, and how do I know where this corner is? Where they cross, right? So let me do that. I'm going to draw a line from here. I can figure out the angle, or I can go to my tracking and tell it to be an increment of 30. Then I can just go there, right? Thanks, it's my 30. But from here, I want to go up. So I can snap it to 60, but I want 65. Can I just click right there? Right there? It says 65. Can I just click? Right? Fine. Let's click. But look at, and it says 65. Cool, right? Perfect. But if I go in, change my angular units, that's not 65. I can. So let's do that. So instead of just going and clicking when it says 65, because that's rounding it, right? Now if I go line, go from there, I hit tab, and go into here. Now I hit 65. If I hit enter, it's just gonna make it kind of right. It's gonna make it right there. But if I hit tab and I hit 65 and I hit tab again, now it's gonna let me change the length of it so I can make sure that it overlaps. And now I can trim off those two things. Okay? So using that tab to set that angle lets me do it. Or I could have used polar and just said, less than 65, or the distance, so less than 5 angle 65, just made some random length line. But I like the tab way better. So I've got this. Anything else I can see from this view? The whole, right? And so it's 1.7 over and 0.9 up. How am I going to find that position? Yeah, draw it, right? I know X and Y, right? So I could I could draw it here and move it, or I could just draw a line from that corner and say 1.7, comma, 0.9. Now I know that that endpoint of that line is where my circle goes. So circle there, D for diameter, 0.7. And then erase the line. A lot of times in AutoCAD, we'll draw things just to find things and just get rid of it. Not too much to get rid of something. Anything else in this view that I can draw? What? This? So when we're drawing things, we want to draw things where we can see them. So here it's gonna be hidden, so I'd rather draw it in the top view and then project it down than try and draw it in here. So same thing with this cutout here, I can draw it on the side view, right? So this view is done for now. And so I'm just gonna move it down here a little bit. Right now, can I move this anywhere I want? Yep, because it's just by itself, right? So I haven't done anything else yet. But what should I do next? The top view or the side view? Or this side or top view? Which one should I do? What? Top view? Yeah, sure. Am I going to be able to do all of the top view though? Or am I going to be missing some things? I'm looking down at the top of this thing. The sides, right? Yeah. So maybe on the side view, if I look at the side view, will I see the entire shape of it? Yeah. So you could do the top view and then just offset in your sides and then use that to project to the side. That works. Or you can do the side view where you can see more of the outer shape and then project to the top. Who votes for top? I want hands. No? Who votes for side? Okay, side wins. So how do I get started on the side view? Project, right? I'm going to go from here over, here over, here over, line down, and it is 1.6. Then I can just trim off, right? This corner. Is that going to be hidden or visible? So I'm looking this way, I hit this back side of the wall first where it's flat before I hit that, right? Or on the part I'm going to see that this is first, so it's going to be hidden. So I could do it now, or I could do it later. Usually I like to do the visible stuff first and then the hidden stuff. So now what do I need to do? Draw the cutout. And it tells me that it's 0.3 typical, so that's both sides and the top and bottom. And so if I have this, and I want to do all those offsets together, easy way is I can combine those. Remember using that join command? And what did that do to it? Made it all one polyline, right? So now if I offset, it comes in together and I don't have to do trimming. But I do need to trim off this, right? So now might as well bring that over. Tell that to be, see, I didn't use the template. This is why you want to use your template. That way you don't have to remake layers every single time. Make sure you get rid of that little line. You don't want to leave something that wasn't trimmed before. All right, so I'll go to my side view. Is this a good space or should I move stuff around? Bring it closer. Yeah. I do, huh? So do I bring a line from the center point of it? Yep, top and bottom. Because right here it's tangent, right? So I need to bring it from the top. And they happen to just barely below those ones. And I'm going to bring them from the bottom too. So one trick that I use a lot is I'll go to trim. And one of the options is the cutting edges. That way I can just pick those are the edges. That way it doesn't use that. He takes all of that off, all of that off. Now I can turn those hidden lines. And then I'll just copy those from the top of the circle to the bottom of the circle. So that way I don't have to retrim them. Whoever designed this part done nice. There we go. So anything else that I missed? What? Through the top only? Oh, we'll draw that when we see the top. The top. So now that I've got this view done, is there anything on this view that I can bring back to this view? Have I found anything new? Yeah, the hidden lines for the cutout. So I'm just going to pick here. I'm just going to track over so I don't have to do an extra trim. Go there, there. Same thing from here. I'm just going to track over, making sure that I see that green line. Click, click. I could just draw the line and then trim it, or I can track it, or I could have drawn the line all the way across, grabbed it, and brought the grip back. Lots of different ways to do it. And I go back and forth on what I do based on what I feel like. Right. Anything else that I can do now without having the top view? No. All right, so top view. Above here or above here? Above the primary, right? Should I move this one closer a little bit? No? All right. If I wanted to, could I take it down here? No. But I could move it here, right? So as long as I'm tracking sideways so it stays lined up, I'm fine. You can see as I'm going in, everything's lining up. The holes line up there, that line lines up there, that lines up there. And that's why we want it to be lined up. So if we see something, we can just project straight across and find out what that is in the other view. So now I want the top view. What do? First step. I do my miter line. Make sure I go inside out. And tab 45, tab somewhere over there. So draw these. Right. So I got the outside of it done. Is it gonna be is that a big part of it? Or is it gonna be part of just a little small section? And I did the outside first. So I could do that one now. But it needs to be trimmed anyways. Yeah, it does. It does need to be there. Just I hadn't gotten to it yet. So any other things on this view that I need to project? Besides the hole? I need this corner, right? And I know this is going to go all the way across. So that's still this line going all the way across. Anything else I need to project? The walls in the back. On this view. Yeah. So these where these lines cross, right? So I need to draw this up because that's going to be this line. I need to draw this up. That's going to be this line. If that's an angle, it's not going to be directly above this one, right? It's in a little bit. And now when I draw these, I'm just going to have it stop right there because I know that's where it stops. Over to there. And I know it also stops here, right? So I'm going to say T for cutting edges, pick that line. Now I can just pick this, and I don't have to pick it like 15 times. And I know that this line right here, I just want on the outsides, right? I'm gonna get rid of there, there, and there. This one, I just need the inside. Right? Does that make sense? Is that view done? What else does it need? Let's work on big things to small things. So, what's another big thing that it needs? Yeah, just right here, it's hollow inside, right? So I need to continue those lines all the way to here. Where does the cut stop? Right here. This part is hidden, right? Is there any line right here? And it's going to be what? It's going to be object. So there's my hidden line for this line, right? Look, they line up, same size. Perfect. Almost like it's a coincidence. Now I can just take these two lines, copy them from this corner to that corner, right? That way I don't have to draw out 3 lines and change the properties again. And I know that this corner was projected, so I know it's going to line up. Now what? Yeah, bring the circle up, right? Go from here, track over, go up. What? So if you don't click, so first of all, in your OSnaps, you need to have extension turned on. And in your tracking, you need to say track using all angles. But even if you have that one, it'll still track. But you have to go over it. It'll show you that center. Now just put your mouse over it until you get the little green plus. Now it'll track based on your angles. So I like it to track on all my angles. Yes. Polar and grid, what do you mean? You mean ortho? So if you mean ortho or turn on the actual snaps? This one? No. So on this one, this is the old one, where your line goes either up or down, or vertical or horizontal only. This is called ortho, and don't use it. Doing polar is much better, where you can move and you can snap to any of the angles you want. So you mean the grid here? Don't use the arrow to the right. Right up here? Yeah. Going back and forth. So I don't use the snaps at all. Like the only time you could have used them was when I gave you the grid. You could use that, but I'd rather you just make up a unit and draw it yourself. There's very rarely are you going to draw something that lines up perfectly on a grid. Oh, okay. I guess I was trying to just. And so I didn't teach you that because I think it's more of a hindrance, because people start using that and then because everything's a quarter inch on that grid, and then they start using that, and now we get to weird numbers and they're like, oh, it's not on the grid, and then they snap to the nearest grid instead. So I just say don't use the snaps at all. I like the grid on just to kind of give me a frame of reference. But sometimes I'll just turn it off and work like that with no grid on either. The grid's getting in the way, just turn it off. So usually I'll have it on in model space, but in my layouts, when I go to do drawings, I have the grid turned off. I don't want to see it like that. It's too much. That's cleaner, because that's the piece of paper. Paper doesn't have grids. I don't want it. Here it's good enough that I don't mind. And so, but sometimes I'll just turn it off if I want to be able to focus more on what I'm drawing without the distraction. But yeah, I never use snaps. All right, so I'm going to bring the circle over, move over the center of it so it activates the tracking. Pick here and go up, and it lines up perfectly with that line, right? So this circle would be what kind of a line? What kind of a line would I get from this? A hidden line, right? So a solid object line that takes precedence, so we don't draw that hidden line at all. Over here, let's do distance command. Pick that point, and it to 4 decimal places, it's perfect. So yes. And then so I'm going to track over here, go up that. But I can't really see that there's a center line right there, right? And so one thing I could do is maybe it's good to put a center line there. Again, using my template, I would have had this already made for myself. So one of the commands I can use is midway between 2 points. So I can just tell it I want to go from there, there, halfway. Then I'm going to make it stick out. So I'm just going to make it stick out past there. So now I can see that there's a hole going through there. Yep. Either way, but they're connected. They're in line with each other. So I would just do one through them both. But I could do that, but that's too small to get a break. So I would just let it go all the way through. So is there anything else on this top view that I need? The square, right? So the square is centered on this face, right? And so it's 0.4 by 0.25 centered on that face. So how am I going to draw that rectangle? First of all, what command should I use for it? I could try and offset it, but then I have to do some math, and I don't like math. I want to draw a rectangle. What command could I use to draw a rectangle? The rectangle command, yay! So rectangle here, or REC. And I'm just going to draw it over here. I'm going to say 0.25, 0.4. That way I get it that way. Right? If I did 0.4 first, it would be turned 90 degrees. So now I want to put this in the middle of that. How can I do that? How can I line it with the center? You draw lines. No, yeah. Nope. Nope. It's perfect because be smart. I'll show you right now. So I'm going to just pick this. I'm going to move. Remember this options right here? If I do midway between 2 points and pick these 2 corners, it's going to grab it by the exact middle of that shape. And now I can tell it, now I'll go midway between 2 points between that corner and that corner. And it moves it over there. So just if you have a square or rectangle, anything rectangular, or even you're doing a polygon, as long as it has a even number of sides, the center of the polygon is halfway between that corner and that corner. Okay. So if I had a, if I had a 5-sided one or whatever, then I would have to create a circle and go from the center point of the circle. So rectangles, easy. The middle, pick 2 opposite corners, or the midpoint of this side and the midpoint of that side, right? And that's still going to give me halfway between. Now what do I do? Draw hidden lines. I'm going to project, and I'm going to just put it on the hidden line layer, so I don't have to change it later. I'm just going to come down here, go from there just to there, right? There. Oh, watch out for that. Got close to it, and then boom, it jumped to the midpoint. My line was almost centered. So sometimes it's better make sure your line is a little bit longer. So that way you don't accidentally have that midpoint there somewhere. There we go. Am I done now? Got that. Yep. Looks done. Okay. Any questions on doing that?